Fuck it, I'm 40.
Are we recording?
We are recording. I've accepted this.
Okay. Hola. Fuck it, I'm 40. We're back. Kelly Bell.
Tracy Kreider.
Yes. And
That's fun to say.
Is it?
It
Creature.
is. Right. Creature. Right.
Tracy Creature.
Right. Because no motherfucking can seem to get my last name right.
No, because you have the I after the E, except for, like it's supposed to be I before E, except after C in a neighboring way. And yours is Kreider.
Ew. The whole thing that you just did was like, except for
Kreider.
the neighboring way.
Yeah, that's how.
It's a German name. It's not an English last name. It's a German last name.
Oh,
so they don't have to follow
German.
those same
It's
EI
Kreider.
rules. Right. That's what I'm
Oh.
saying.
All right. Sorry.
Also, for anybody who's listening on a podcast channel and not actually watching this through our YouTube, one thing you should know is if you get to the YouTube and you watch this channel, Kelly has gone with the Run DMC outfit today.
Got my tracksuit on, my side words, don't be a dickhead, hat, not head, hat.
It's a really good look for you. I like it. So we're not together again. We are in our different houses because again,
virtual.
Kelly's decided we're going to have a YouTube channel. And so we got to develop content somewhere. So we've got a video going along with this fun ride. It's going to be great.
Let's just say you need to clean your house so you all stop getting sick. How about that? How about we start there?
Oh yeah, I know. Well, so right. So like, so I've had some illness in the house, not COVID related. Can you imagine? COVID, non-COVID related.
COVID. Now it's not, well, you can't have COVID on top of COVID. You got to wait 3 months to get it again.
Right. Well, I got to wait my turn again. I got to get back in line.
That's right.
And wait my turn again before I get that shit another time.
That's right.
Yeah. So we've had some things going on. Luckily, everybody's good. We're all good. We're all sane. I just got to tell you that I'm ready to open up my house. I'm ready to like ventilate everything that we have going on in here. Yeah. And just, let spring come on in and do its thing.
I just need today. I was at the kitchen and I went outside to take out the trash. I'm like, holy shit, it's gotta be at least 55 degrees outside, which we haven't seen in a month.
It was beautiful. Yeah, today was beautiful.
And I was like, I can't believe it. And of course, as soon as I got home, I'm like, I rush home and I'm like, neighbors, anybody want to come out for a happy hour drink? They're like, yeah. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'll be out in like 5 minutes. As soon as I get out, it's like 45 degrees. I'm like, shit, I missed the window. I missed it.
Dude, and then we've got so we have Valentine's Day weekend this weekend. I guess that's what you call it, right? Like, so, we talked about last week some of the horrible experiences we had. But yeah, so we got Valentine's Day weekend heading up. I've confirmed my reservations. We're a go. So we're going to go. We're going to make this happen. Let's hope I can report back good things. But one of the things we did ask everybody, and by we, it was really you kind of managed that, was we talked about how everybody met. Remember that?
Did we get any stories for that?
We did. We definitely did. Oh, we definitely did. We had some people do it. And I am without my devices right now. So
let's go in and talk about how me and Michael met.
Let's do that because I wanted to do some of the listener stories, but I'm without my stuff.
You're without your stuff, and it looks like
I'm very ill prepared this week. So you're welcome, everyone. Thanks for showing up.
Well, it is what it is. This is what we do. We weren't even prepared to show up today.
Yeah, we weren't. Let's do this. Let's start that over again. I want to stop the recording. Let's do this over. Okay. I got to get those things. I think
recording is in progress. Hello.
Recording is in progress.
Listeners, it's Fuck It, I'm 40 podcast. You can find us on all the podcast things, including now YouTube, which this episode will be uploaded shortly.
Yeah, we're just technically okay. So this is Fuck It, I'm 40 podcast. Kelly Bell, Tracy Kreider.
Yep.
And we've never said that we are professional at this. So go into this knowing that right now our biggest challenge technically is we cannot figure out how to change the name on our YouTube channel. to match our podcast. So that's why we haven't made the grand announcement for it. And there's a lot of other technical reasons for it. But the reality is
we have
a side gig that doesn't pay us.
It is so true. So true.
I mean, we literally, so before we even recorded, let's just tell everybody, we just sat for like 10 minutes and I was trying to figure out how to get a part of it. And she kept saying, she kept saying, it's on your Google account. It's on your Google account, which was actually, it's our Google account.
Not our.
Ew. That's ew. That's a dick move. That's just a dick move. Anyway,
I'm wearing the hat. Don't be a dick. So it's not a dick move. It's polite conversation and criticism. It's a
great hat to go along with your Run DMC outfit.
What? I got my tracksuit on.
Which eventually, when we change the YouTube channel name to match what our actual podcast is, you'll be able to see it. Folks will be able to see it, which would be great. Or you
can just look up Tracy Kreider and Kelly Bell. It might come up.
Yeah. I mean, but eventually that won't be it. So it'll only last for a minute until I can get access.
If it changes, it'll give you the notification. We have 7 subscribers.
You know what I think? 7 subscribers are going to be like, wait, what? What happened to the channel name? What the fuck is going on? I blame this on the fact that you just went ahead, full speed ahead, and changed, you literally just were like, we're going to do a YouTube channel. And I was like, okay, that's going to happen. And then all of a sudden now, I'm usually the one that sets these things up. So you started setting it up and then I'm like, wait, this isn't right. And you're like, I don't know how to do this.
Well, we had we had video content and then you went on COVID, quarantine.
Don't start throwing this back at me.
Well, it was your fault. And so we did. It was your fault. So we recorded virtually and it happens to be that I have the Zoom thing so we can record. Although Leo, our friends on Twitter, our podcast, he's got involved.
Yeah. What up, Leo?
Yeah. He's awesome. His stuff is very very informative, very, very it's just good. It's good content. Well, he was the one that just gave us some more information on what better video we can use. We'll get into that on a different location.
Yeah, but the challenge is we need to first start with I need to be able to get to it so I can fix it up so we can get it out. So this is where we're at. If you're like, I've heard about this YouTube channel for like the last, I don't know. I feel like we've been saying this the last handful of episodes this season, but it's because I don't have access to it. I'm trying to figure it out. And this gig doesn't pay. So I'm doing it when I have time to do it. That's just what it is. And this part is Kelly's fault.
You're a dick. Probably is.
So funny. All right. Well, this is a good time. Okay, so we've got Valentine's Day coming up. Yeah. I confirmed my reservation. So just so everybody's really clear, I'm not going to get charged $50. I'm actually going to show up to the reservations. We're going to do it. No matter what was said in the last podcast, we're going to move forward. We're excited. But we talked about, Kelly actually posted, I feel it was like 2 weeks ago, about kind of how people had sort of met.
How you met your mate.
Yeah. So what is it? What's your story,
Thank you, Todd, for the one response. Kathy, we never got yours.
Yeah. Kathy never emailed us. It's cool. Like, we know we're doing this for the handful of people that actually listen and we're here for it. So
we are.
Kelly, tell us about your story.
Well, you were there. You were there for my story.
I know. That's why I wanted you to say it.
I know. You were there. So this is funny. So
I was a part of all the magic.
So the whole thing that I basically posted was the fact, like, if you could beat my story, my father on our wedding day pulled out the fact that I came home on our first date and was like, he is an asshole. I came through the door. I was through the door and mom and dad were sitting there waiting for us to get home. Me and you, Tracy. And,
yes.
And dad was like, so how did it go? And I was like, oh, he's an asshole. And
did I go on your first? I did. I was on your first.
You were there. Yes, because this. Oh, yes.
So let me tell this. So let me tell this part. So I was. I happened to be dating a guy at the time, and he was like, What'd you say?
Way too old for her. So I had to go.
I'm a rebel without a cause, baby. So, but I was dating him, and I don't know. I can't remember, but it came up where it was like, oh, I have this friend.
Yeah.
And this friend was kind of, and I'm not going to lie to you. When I first met Michael, and he knows this, so it's not like it's any secret. I was sort of like, oh, he's kind of a dick. Kelly would totally take him. He was just combative over everything. Like we would talk, and it was like always a combat. I was like, yeah, this is going to be good for Kelly. It's definitely going to be good for Kelly.
And he called me white trash on the first like 20 minutes of us being in the same room together.
He did. 2 kids later, look at you. You guys are doing great. You guys
and now he's what's his name from Modern Family? What is it?
Phil. He is Phil from Modern Family. Yeah. He goes from being this tough kind of exterior to Phil, like, little whittler.
But next thing you know, you find out he's a cheerleader in college. You know what I mean?
That's right. Exactly.
That's what you do.
Rah.
That's right. That's his little, he's big, tough guy up front. So yeah.
Where did we go on that? Where we were at that's right. We were at Champions, which was a bar where we were living. So to get
it was
a pool bar,
billiards bar.
And you can get food and all that kind of stuff there. But yeah. Cause I used to hang out. I did a lot of, hung out at a lot of pool halls. It wasn't really a pool hall. It was a bar. It was a bar.
It was a bar, and she was not anywhere close to being ready to be in a bar. And I had come home from school. I was probably.
But wasn't I though? I feel like mentally I was ready to start drinking.
No, I don't think so.
Well, the great thing is, and for any of you who don't, I mean, clearly you have to know what we look like. It's on our podcast. There is a lot. We've talked about it before. There's a lot of times we've gotten, we've gotten I'm looking at your photo on the YouTube, and for those of you get onto the YouTube, Kelly is literally positioned in her background photo is of me and her, and she's sitting, I don't know, it's good.
Sitting in the position where I'm supposed to be.
But we've gotten people think we look a lot alike. So there was a lot of times that I actually had this is completely shouldn't be said, but anyway, I had your license. Yeah. Like I didn't have a fake ID. I never needed a fake ID because you're 3 years older than I am. Yeah. So by the time I was coming up, you had already gotten by the time I was ready to start going, you had the license.
Which is funny because if you just smiled, and I don't know if you can see it. Can you see the dimple? Can you see it?
Okay, you have to be on YouTube, but Kelly has a dimple. I do not. Like she's a very distinctive pit in her cheek.
It is.
And I do not have it.
It is. So, but it's funny. It doesn't matter. We even we've talked about it before, how many times we've been waiting tables and all of a sudden they're like, miss, can I get some water? And I'm like, yes, I'll go get your waitress for you.
Yeah.
So we went to this bar, Tracy. I was 2 weeks shy. Well, no, that's actually not true. 4 weeks shy of my 21st birthday. Because it was right after, it was like 2 days after St. Patrick's Day. And the only reason why I know that is because we went on spring break and we end up at the bar, and I'm sitting there with you and your fella, and I'm like, I gotta meet this guy. Who is this 21-year-old wanting to like date my sister? I'm like, we gotta figure this shit out. So we go, and I actually the guy on first.
I'm still in high school. To get everybody an idea, I'm still in high school. And this guy has graduated college. It doesn't make any fucking sense. No, it was dumb. So, the whole thing was dumb. But yeah, keep going.
It was. But so I walk into this bar, and like this guy is sitting there, and he's like very welcoming, very cool. First impression, I was like, all right, cool. You're kind of a cool dude. I gotta still keep my eye on you, but you're pretty cool. And the rest of the friends were sitting at the bar, like with their arms like crossed on the bar, their head down. I don't know what they were looking at because it wasn't the screens in front of them on the television. They all looked exactly the same. There's like 5 of them lined up on the bar. It was really weird. None of them looked up to say hello. And I was like,
it's a weird group of people.
Who are you dating? Who are these people? Like, this is weird. Like I even came.
And now mind you, so everybody knows I had already been like, I have been at this time dating this guy for a period of time, not like, great lengths, but I was dating him for a period of time. So all these guys were guys that I've been hanging out with sort of the whole time. And they're all of the same age. Like I am the clearly at the time I was the youngest person of the entire group that was there. So it was
well, Michael was not there at this time. When we were there, we had been there. We had had a couple drinks before Michael showed up.
Yes, I do remember that. And so it was a lot of more like drilling the guy I was dating at the time. It was sort of drilling him like, what are your intentions here, sir? Which is really kind of funny because there was never a time when this was ever a thing that was Kelly's like, that's not your MO. You were never somebody when I was growing up that was like, let me meet this fella. But here I am.
This was a little different.
This was not the brightest moments of my life. Let's just say that he was not a good guy. We can clearly say that. I can look back and, you know, I don't regret anything in life with the exception of allowing any of my existence being spent with this guy.
But see, you wouldn't be the person you were today without it. So you have to
100%.
It's a learning experience.
You know, of 100%. So at any rate, but yeah, so what I would say is, I learned my lesson. Hopefully most people learn their lesson. I don't know I know what was going through my mind. I was fucking rebellious at the time. Shit was going on. And I was like, fuck it. There's a 21-year-old that shows interest and he has a car and he's got a full-time career job and let's do that for a while. And we did. And I got into a lot of bars. Like I was 18. I mean, I'm 40 now, so fuck it. I'm just going to say it. I was 18. I was going to bars on a regular basis. And even when Kelly was like, okay, so she was clearly 21, I was going to bars and I didn't always have to have an ID because this guy was a regular at some of these places. And so I show up and just the sheer fact that I'm with this guy, I have access. And when I want to, I can look like a grown-up. When you get on YouTube, you can be like, oh, she's 40 years old and she's still dressed as like she's 18. Yes, that's my reality. So that's the beauty thing. I'm like the Benjamin Button of fucking clothing. I can look old when I want to and young pretty much every other time. Young and juvenile every other time.
You actually do look juvenile right now with the glasses.
I do. I look like I should be in high school right now, which is great. And I'm loving every minute of it. And you're welcome, YouTube.
If it wasn't my turtleneck, I feel like I'd look kind of young, but I'm just gonna.
No, you're rocking the Run DMC. Don't just. You're good. You're good. So
this is my
so we're there. So we're at the bar. We're meeting all the guys. Kelly's getting introduced. I still think you never came to a point where you were like, oh, this makes complete sense.
It did,
but you accepted.
Michael comes through the door and he's in full suit. Now at the time he was working in public accounting. And he walks in full on suit. All the other people we're with is just in Friday.
And that was on purpose. It was a fucking power move. Michael came in total power move. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He was like, I'm not these assholes. I'm this asshole.
He was. He totally did. And he comes in, he walks right past us, doesn't even say hello to our little group, walks right past us and kind of like hugs onto the guys who were sitting at the bar, like with their head down, facing the bar, looking like they had been there for 7 days.
Yeah.
And then it's like, whatever. So he comes over and then we start chit-chatting up. And, you know, I think I come to the back, I go to the bathroom or we go to the bathroom and we come back. And then your boyfriend was like, so do you want to go on a date with us? And I'm like, date with who?
Yeah.
You and my sister, me go with you. No,
that was his move. Like he wasn't really smooth. I would say, he didn't use this line on me, but he used to tell me he would go to a bar and say, hey, nice shoes, want to fuck? Oh. And he thought that worked. So we're not talking about a guy who was real smooth when it came to women.
No.
He's like, hey, you want to go on a date with us?
And he's like, well, no, you know, with my buddy, Mike. And I'm like, and I looked over at Mike and I'm like, can he speak for himself?
Are you adult? In all that suited wear, could he look like the man he showed up in?
And literally, Michael was like, "You wanna go out to dinner with me?" I'm like, "Ew!"
It's so funny to think about how suave he thought, or how cool he thought he was being at the time.
Bro, fine. You know what? Fine. I'm gonna go because I still need to check out this.
I like free meals. That's why I'm gonna go.
It's because you remember I ate before I left. And I got there and I got a salad. And he's like, "Oh, you're just getting a salad? Can I have a T-bone?"
Yeah.
You did. Yeah. You did.
I can't. I remember. I don't remember where we went, but I remember being in
we were in Baltimore.
that restaurant.
It was.
I know we were in Baltimore.
Fuck.
I know. I can't remember. I remember the white linen.
Starts with a C. It was an Irish place. Damn it! It's gonna bother me.
You're not gonna remember it. I will tell you. Like that was one of the things with going out with this fella is that we were like I was always going to Baltimore, all these other places. Like I was always going. I basically lived my 20s, my early 20s, 21, 22, 23, all like 18 and 19. That's what I did. I just did a little bit earlier than that. So this was what was kind of the exciting part of it, is the fact that I did all of those things. I'd go in there and be like, yes, I'd like a glass of like thinking I'm fancy, but I'm like, yeah, only one glass. I have high school tests in the morning. I have high school tests in the morning. But the first date, keep going on because this gets interesting.
It does. So we go on our first date. We actually go to dinner. He orders his T-bone. I ordered a salad. And we end up going to Kisslings. We go to Kisslings.
Yeah. Your memory is going to be better than mine.
Mm-hmm. We go to Kisslings. We have some drinks. We drive home, whatever. So then he doesn't even kiss me his first date. So everything was fine. It was like very lovely date. I was like, okay, whatever. I'm like, there was still a lot of like tension. I'm like, there's something about this guy though. I'm like,
yeah.
The assholeness does not, it's fake. I'm like, there's something about this that I don't agree with.
Right.
And he went to go, and I don't even think it was that night. He didn't even try to kiss me that night. So I was like, all right.
But wasn't there something in the, I'm gonna let you get
there was. So maybe it was that night. Maybe it was that. So he goes in and he kissed me and he turns his head.
Yeah, he's such a dick. Oh, what a dick move.
I bite his ear. He goes in and kisses, it turns, and I bite his ear. He's like, oh my God. He's like, you bit my ear. I was like, you turned away.
Yeah. Yeah. Dick move. Yeah. But didn't you also wasn't there like some kind of argument that happened in the back of the car?
Oh yeah, I'm sure there was. I know
there was. And I don't. Yes, there was always okay. So let's introduce the old version of Michael. So when we first had him come into our lives, what Michael is he's kind of like a challenger personality. Not this way so much anymore, but when he was younger,
if he wants to, he'll challenge you.
Yeah, I mean he's right, of course, because he's learned these skills. With great power comes great responsibility. So he will come in and he will he is the kind of person that just is like right off the bat, whoever you are, doesn't really matter. He's just going to challenge your thinking, your ideas, whatever. Even if he doesn't think the opposite, he's going to play the opposite thinking role just to sort of see how far will you take this path? Like how dedicated are you to it? It's a weird test. Like Michael would put everybody through this test. It was, in truth, and he knows this, it was exhausting. It was fucking exhausting is what it was, but I will tell you, 100%, it was weird because I met Michael before you met him, and not for very long, but I met him at one of the gatherings with all the guys. And I remember just enough meeting him and I was like, oh, Kelly would like this guy. Oh, and only because the fact I think that he challenged everything about the thinking was something that I think would have been something that, and he was never I want to make it like he was a dick. He definitely was a dick.
Oh,
but
yeah.
A way of like just trying to figure out who you are. So I could see past.
Oh, if you were a weak person, he would take you down. He would take
right, and almost like you had dated enough of that where it was sort of like, it's time that we get you somebody who's going to, I mean, there were times, let me tell folks. Okay. We're getting into a whole Michael thing. Thank God he doesn't listen to this podcast because he's tired of listening to begin with. Thank God. So, okay. The big thing about Michael and Kelly, when they were kind of first started dating, is the fact that they argued everything. Kelly still, even though she went to college, she lived at college, she'd come home, she'd live at the house. And when they would get together, there'd be times like they'd be upstairs in my family home, like me, my parents downstairs, and they're upstairs fucking going at it. And I still can tell everybody in this podcast, all truth aside, like seriously, truth. These motherfuckers, I was like, they're meant for each other. Like Kelly you were at a time in your life where I was like, this is literally who you are. Like you need somebody that will just take it and be like, all right, cool. Like we're good. We're fine. We still getting together next Friday.
All right, cool. Yeah.
And that's what it was. It was like these big, massive blow ups. And I'm like, it's cool. Trust me, this will work out. It'll be fine.
Now he's a pussycat and won't fight with me.
Now he's like, all right, well, you know what it is? It's like God, what's that movie where they they put you through all those fucking tests and trials? You know what it is? You've been through
Netflix. About the Netflix thing.
Yeah, but okay, yeah, yes, you know what I'm talking about is the fucking thing with the thing, and it's all in subtitles. Yes, you know what I'm talking about. I'm so fucking pissed it's not in there.
Oh my God, is my British guy speaking to you?
You were a part. This was your dating was like fucking real life Squid Games. That's what it was. That's what it was. Fucking Squid Games, except the only difference was your shit was in English.
So the best part though about us meeting, my favorite part about us meeting though is when, we had gone out on that date, and then we ended up going a couple days without seeing each other. And we went, me and your boyfriend, we went out to dinner because like this is the end of the week, the end of my spring break. Yeah. And you and your boyfriend we went to your 18th birthday dinner.
It's so funny to say. That's right. Because that actually brings up another good point. Because that I wasn't actually 18 at the time.
No,
I just said to everybody, it's like, oh, I was 18, I'm doing all this. You're right. I was 17 when all this shit was going on. That's right. I did turn 18. I do remember.
We were at your 18th birthday, and we were actually less than 3/4 of a mile from Michael's house. And we're like, look, we have to go to this dinner. I mean, we'd invite you. My mom probably would have said, let him come. But I'm like, no, just met the fucker. You know,
my mom is sort of, that's kind of mom anyways. Like the more the merrier, it doesn't matter.
Bring him invite him.
Right.
So we go to dinner, and it was, the service was super slow. And I don't know what time we were supposed to be able to pick him up, but I know it was like 9:30 when we finally left dinner. And we go to his house, it's like 20 feet away, and he's like, not there. We show up, he's not there. This is also, of course, before cell phones. I don't know if he had a cell phone, or I don't even know if there was texting at the time.
Cell phones existed, but they were not something that was what they are now. They were still, everybody didn't have them, and they weren't, they weren't priced the way.
Texting or something. Where you had to like press the button 4 times to get the whatever. Anyway, so we get to his house, he's not there, and I'm like, motherfucker stood me up. So we end up driving. I'm driving with you and your boyfriend. We drive to Baltimore to pee and drive back home.
Oh God. Was that when we went to the gas station that one time?
Yes, you don't.
The worst gas station ever. So I could have, honestly, if I'm to be completely transparent, I could have cared less that she got stood up. What was the problem with this night?
Ew.
I mean, I love you, but you would have survived this. We got to that. We may not. I'm glad we survived the fucking bathroom in Baltimore, because we walked in there and I was like, that's it. This is how we're going to die. We're definitely getting tetanus or some other horrible, horrible disease in here. It was the worst bathroom. And here's how bad we had to pee. We said, fuck it. And I'm telling you, imagine the worst bathroom in your brain and then times that by 10. Yeah, do that right now in your head.
It was nastier than the episode honestly, we talked about a nasty girl.
Right, 100%. I mean,
I would have taken the bloody pad on the back of the toilet seat.
Yeah, it was like shit was everywhere. Everything, you walked in and there was a smell. It was not clean. You're not even washing your hands in there. This is literally like drop and go. Like you don't wash your hands walking out kind of situation. You don't know what the fuck is coming out of that sink. So, I mean, I could have pissed on the fucking floor and nobody would have noticed. It wouldn't have made a dent in the shit that we were looking at. I remember that bathroom like it was fucking yesterday and being like, what the hell? But we had to go. Do you remember we had to go so bad that it was like,
well, because we drove around trying to find Michael for a while and then just literally driving to Baltimore to take a pee to drive home. And we went home. So I'm like, whatever, dude's a
so
dick.
dumb. So dumb.
Like, I'm so done with him. Like, that's it. And then, so the next night, I remember like we got home and there was a message on my machine. So we had a separate phone line in our house back in the day. So this is when, before cell phones, people, if you're younger than 40 listening to this,
there was time
we had plug-in lines that were separate from the other house. So we had 2 phone lines running through our house. And
yeah, we were fancy.
We were super fancy. So the one line, so we also had an answering machine in which it was old school where you had to press the button.
Now we're showing off. Now you're just showing off.
And so if someone called and left a message, you could hear the message being left out loud because it was like through a speaker.
Right.
And you had to press play and rewind and all that kind of shit. Well, we came home and I remember, I don't know if you remember, Mom's like, yeah, Michael called. I'm like, oh, did he now? And it's like 1:00 in the morning. And so I listened to the message and it's like, oh, sorry, but you guys kind of like ran too late. So I went to my buddy's house for a basketball game. I told Chubb, and I'm like, whatever. Okay. Bye, dude. Wake up the next day. Everything's fine. I'm like, la, la,
we
la,
traversed through the horrors of a Baltimore gas station bathroom because of this.
Hey, that was your 18th, not mine. So
right. Happy birthday to me.
I know. So I remember the next night, it was probably about 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And I get a phone call from Michael and he's like, hey, you want to go out tonight? I'm like, yeah, sure. No problem. I'm like, I got some shit to do, but what's up? He's like, oh, I'm going to my buddy's house. We're going to go watch basketball. Okay. You don't know me yet, bro, but me going to your buddy's house so you all can watch basketball. Not me, but yeah sure. Let's take down the number.
Even in the current Run DMC outfit, still not you.
No basketball. Still no basketball. So no football, no soccer, no golf.
Right. I ain't that girl.
Maybe some roller derby. So
that's cool.
Hey, I looked into roller derby. Do you know this? Did you know I looked into it doing it?
I mean, no, it's not like everything you do is run by me, but no,
I looked when I was like personal training and I was like super buff and like super in check with myself. I was going to do roller derby and guess what my name was going to be? Because I had 2 places picked out. There was one down in Prince Frederick, I think, and there's one in Baltimore. Guess what my name was going to be? Can you guess?
All right. Beastly Bell.
What?
I don't know. You told me to guess. Beastly Bell.
No, it was going to be Ringer Bell. Like ring her bell. Because it's girls.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's actually, yours is way better than mine.
I know. That's the only reason why I want to do it, because my name was awesome.
The only reason? You do know
I bought skates. I did. I bought skates.
Oh, so you took it like 30% there with a name and skates.
And then I got
never signed up.
Never signed up.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Boo. Every roller derby person that's listening to this podcast is like, what the fuck, dude? We need more players.
I know. I could have thrown some fucking elbows. So where was I?
You still can Run DMC. You still can.
With my gout and my spina bifida and my TMJ. Yes.
Listen, you might be a bench warmer, but even roller derby girls need a bench warmer.
I would have been a badass fucking roller derby girl. So
in your mind, go ahead.
I would have been a badass roller derby girl.
You sure would have, partner.
I hate you.
You don't hate me. Not all of me.
Look what I'm doing to your face right now. Look what I'm doing to your face.
You know it. You know it. Eat it. You know what you hate is the podcast version of me. That's what you hate of me. All right. What else? We'll keep on going.
Right. So I was like, sure, Michael, let me take down the number. Yeah, I'll call you when I'm done doing what I'm doing. I didn't call. I left. Monday comes, I drive back up to school. Everything's fine. All of a sudden you call me, I think later in the week. And you're like, hey, so Michael's trying to hunt you down, trying to get a hold of you.
I don't remember this, but I'm pretty sure it's probably something I did.
I think you asked me if you could give him my number. And I'm like, yeah, all right, sure. Give him my phone number to school. Cause again, there was no cell phones. There was
right.
In the wall phone. We weren't quite the Rotary, but we did.
We had the buttons. We did have the buttons.
We did have buttons. But
although in our home, we still always rocked a Rotary. We were like, don't forget where you fucking came from. There's a Rotary phone when you really need it, right? It was like,
oh, I'm sorry. You want to talk? You want to talk smack, children? Right. Go use the Rotary.
Right. And we're not even talking like the Rotary that was like hanging on a wall. We're talking about the Rotary that was like a stanchion Rotary with a fucking little like click thing that you, like a thing you put on the thing, and then it has like the actual, like you have to do this to talk to somebody, like where it's like the microphone in your face and then the receiver in
Empire Boardwalk Empire. They use that. That's the phone we had. That's the phone we had.
Yeah, that's the phone we had. It was awesome. I loved it. I wanted to talk to all my friends on that phone. I was like, this is the best phone ever. It just wasn't on our line.
75 minutes to make a phone call.
It's going to be great. I'll call you in 10 minutes.
One.
Awesome.
So then all of a sudden I get a phone call like that Thursday or Friday, or maybe it was like Wednesday or Thursday, talking about like, hey, so I'm going to go ahead and come up this weekend. And the thing is, again, he was a personal accountant, but for like taxes, whatever that is. I said it earlier in the podcast. I can't remember what it is now. So
you're a great storyteller. Keep going.
I am super great. So he's like, yeah, well, why don't you, well, I'm going to come up on Saturday. I'll get off work around noon, be up there probably around 4. I'm like, all right, cool. And we go out Friday night. We have a good time. Not him. He's not up yet. Me and my roommates, and we go out Friday night. I wake up and I have contacts and glasses and I can't see fucking 3 feet in front of me. So it doesn't matter. And I know I'm sitting there and all of a sudden it's like 9 a.m. and I'm smoking a cigarette because I used to smoke back in the day. My Newport Lights. Sorry, I needed a second.
Sorry. Move on. Just keep going.
No, I
don't smoke anymore. I'm sorry for your luck.
I know. I want to have a cigarette. So it's been 11 years. So, all right. Anyway, so all of a sudden there's a knock at the door, and I'm like, nobody fucking knocks. Who knocks? We didn't knock in Frostburg. Like there was not.
No, we really didn't. It was just the people's showed up. Doesn't matter if you're inappropriately dressed or not in your own home. People were just walking in everywhere. It was wonderful. It was a wonderful existence.
It really was. We never locked the door. I don't think we never had a key to our house at all. I had a key to my bedroom, did not have a key to the door. So there's a knock at the door and my roommate gets up, John, and he goes to open the door. And I'm literally like squinting. I'm like, I can't see. Who the hell is that? You know, and he opens the door and Michael and John knew each other. My roommate knew Michael. They went to high school together. It's like, what the fuck universe?
John was kind of a dick, so made a lot of sense.
So John's like, yo, Michael, like, what's up? Who are you? What is happening right now? And I'm like, huh? What? And I can't see shit. I haven't even brushed my teeth yet. I haven't smoked. I'm
sexy.
Like greasy from the night before.
Lovely. Like, that's a good look. Yeah.
And he's at my door and I'm like, shit. I was like, I'll see you in 5. Right upstairs.
Yeah.
I gotta go. And then that was pretty much the end of the weekend. And we had a great time. And it was awesome. And that was sort of the end of the story. And he kept coming up and we kept talking and eventually got engaged. And then married.
Love spurred from there.
And love spurred from there. I'm like, dude, you made up. He was supposed to be at work and he came up early. I'm like, see, so I did the right. Girls, don't give your full basket of eggs in the beginning. That's all I'm saying.
It's a very wise statement. Don't give your full basket of eggs.
You have one. You get one egg. You got to come back and get the other 11.
Okay. Weird. All right. So I think we took up a lot of time with your story, so I'll keep mine very brief. Bob and I actually also met in Frostburg. And Bob was a part of a fraternity. And at the time, which I had happened to live. Yeah. I happened to live with a couple of, I guess one fraternity guy who was in the same fraternity. So I was always hanging out with this particular fraternity when I was in It was DPO. So when I was in Frostburg, this is the kind of fraternity I was hanging out with. And so I was going to
fraternity that I was told when I got into freshman year, like, you don't want to hang out with that fraternity.
Yeah, which is almost sort of like an invitation for me, being like,
so you want to hang out with that fraternity?
but why? What do they get going on over there? And I had a great time. I always had a great time with those guys. I mean, they were a hot fucking mess. The whole, I mean, it was like when I look back at it, it was like the best times, but also when I think about it, I'm like, oh my God, there was some crazy fucking times. And I loved it, everything about it. So the first time I actually met Bob, we ended up going to what they called a steak feed. And
I love steak feed.
Steak feed was great. Yeah. So they bought like real shitty, cheap steaks, but they bought a fuck ton of them, and they would cook them off.
Potatoes in the grill.
Oh yeah, and it would cook them off. It was great. Yeah. And so you ate as much steak as you could have your fill for.
Steak and potatoes and lots of beer.
Loved it. And tons of drinks. And then they'd have like a softball game with the alumni. Alumni would always come down and do it. So I'm going to this steak feed, and that's the first time I see Bob. Like, I see him in the midst of a crowd, and I'm like, ooh, he's handsome. What's his name? And so I see him, but I don't, I play cool because like I'm a catch. So, so I go and I play softball. Now, the weird thing about DPO is like, it's an alumni game. So like, even if you play softball, you can't play. So, but I brought my mitt. I brought some balls. Like I play softball, and I mean, like, I'm good. So I start throwing catch with some of the guys to get them warmed up. And like, I throw.
Well,
a dude. Like
bitch, you throw well.
I throw like a woman is what I do. Like, that's what I throw like. I throw like a fucking badass bitch like I am, okay? I don't throw like a dude. Let's like get that out of the way. You're welcome for the feminism. Anyway, so we go in, and he like that seems to strike up the idea that he like, I don't know, like that caught his eye or something. So he comes over, he's like, yeah, wow, you can really throw. Like you can, you got some skills. I was like, I played for, a minute. So we're doing this, and I'm like,
a girl, and you can
folks play. Are like on the right. So it's like alumni against current, people, current students or whatever that are in the fraternity. And so they're negotiating, trying to get me to play softball. And they won't let me play because, of course, I'm not a fraternity member. So it's fine. So we're hanging out, whatever. And then all of a sudden it gets to a point where I'm told, and now mind you, I'm living with a guy who's a part of this fraternity. So I'm told that day that the after hours party always happens at my house. And I've never lived. Yes, this is Mill Street. I've never lived
the party was not always at Mill Street.
Of course it wasn't. I mean, but I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't care. Anyway, and then of course I wasn't paying for it. Like they were paying for it, so I didn't care. So anyway, so I never lived in like housing for college. I got to college, you were in a house. I came in as a roommate to your house. I've never lived in normal college housing and then moved into like a house.
Right.
So I don't know what that experience is like. So I got in this house and it was like, oh, okay, so the party's at our house later. All right, cool, whatever. That's cool. Now, to give you guys an idea of what a house was like in Frostburg, and I don't know if other college houses are like this, it's kind of dangerous. Well, so our house, we talked about it. Like it had animals in the wall, whatever. But we also, like, all of our bedrooms were dead bolted. Like we had locks and padlocks and shit like that. So you could have people over at any time. And when you left, you padlocked your room so nobody could go in. Like that's the kind of trust we had in one another.
Except if you brought a Phillips screwdriver, you
right. I mean, right. It's not like it was Fort fucking Knox. We were college kids on a fucking budget. So it was that kind of security. But nobody really wanted that. I mean, you'd have to spend at least 10 minutes there. And eventually some roommate come out and be like, what are you doing? And all you had to be is like, oh, she told me to get something. I don't have the key, so I'm going to do this. And my roommates would probably be like, oh, okay. Okay. I live with all guys. They could give a fuck about me. So anyway, so we go and the party happens. And of course, Bob shows up and we are like, he's hanging out and I just have it in my brain. I am going to talk to this motherfucker tonight. Cool. So he goes outside. I go outside and I'm like, what up, dude? So he was talking about how like he lifts weights and whatever. I'm pretty sure it was something along the lines of like, hey, what's going on? I wasn't really like, hi, my name is, hey.
But you were like, what's up, bro?
Yeah, I was probably very much like that. I'm very much like that. I can tell you when I was even in high school and when I wanted boyfriends, I was like, so do you want to date? Like, was this a thing that we're doing right now? Like,
so is that why you didn't have any?
Wow. I had plenty. I just didn't have them for very long. I actually had a lot
What are you talking about? You
boyfriends.
didn't have a boyfriend for like ever. We talked about this. This has been,
I mean,
what are you trying to tell me?
At any rate, there was probably one boy in high school that I was like, and then it was like, whatever. So anyway, so we move on. So we're there and I'm hanging out. I was like, I'm gonna talk to this guy. I was like, hey, what's going on? We start talking. We're both drinking. Drunk. We're both drunk. That's what it is. And he starts talking about, I don't know, somehow we get into weightlifting. I happen to have known about weightlifting because I knew I had a friend that just did this and this is what it was. And he was like, oh shit, like, you know about this shit. I'm like, yeah, cool. We are, no joke, I'm not fucking kidding you. We are mid conversation and this motherfucker is like, oh, that's my boy. I don't know if you remember this, but across the street from the house, there was like this party house that was there. It was weird. We had a weird dynamic. So it was our house. We had a party house. And right next to that was these two older folks.
Oh, I love my little old people.
Right. Yes, but they were literally in the midst of like college housing and
would shovel their little.
Yeah. I mean, wonderful people, wonderful people. But so the party house was going and there was a party going over there. He's like, oh, that's my boy, blah, blah, blah. We're literally mid conversation. He's like, all right, listen, catch you later. And he leaves. And I was like, oh, but here's what I got from the conversation. He didn't currently go to Frostburg at the time. He was actually kicked out, like, you know, the freshman issues. You come in and like, you like fail out because you're partying too much. So he was like, okay, well, I'm actually, I find out he's coming back next semester. And I'm like, oh, cool. He's like, yeah, I had to go to like community, like this was the deal. I had to go back to community college for a year. If my grades were good, then I could come back. And so I did. And so I'm back in there. And so I'm coming back next semester. Cool. So we go, summer happens. I come back and I remember driving up to Frostburg and all of a sudden it's like this ding of like, I think Bob's going to be back there. Okay, great. I'm still living with DPO guys, right? You know? So I know I'm going to run into him. So we fast forward into a party and we go to this party. And now here's I'm awesome. Okay. So here's how I show up to this party. I'm like the girl of every guy's dream, right? No, I'm not. But here's how it looks. I am
she thinks she's the girl of every guy's dream.
I don't. I'm actually making fun of myself. Just wait. We're getting there. I show up to this party like Bob's going to be there. I'm going to show him exactly who the fuck I am. I'm one of the boys. And it's no joke. I've always been one of the fucking boys. That has never, ever changed no matter what fucking age I've been. So I roll up there exactly however the fuck I want. So I show up in jeans, a fucking t-shirt, cowboy hat, and fucking cowboy boots. That's how this motherfucker shows up. I'm pretty sure I had a nice belt on. I didn't quite own a belt buckle at the time. That came later into our relationship. The belt buckle.
Cute outfit. What are you talking about? That's a sexy ass.
You think it is because you're looking at it from probably your Coyote Ugly viewpoint. When this is not a Coyote Ugly viewpoint. No, calm down. This is like country. Like I just wrangled a bunch of fucking, cattle. That's what I showed up like. Right. So we go in and I'm passing everybody who's drunk and naked and half naked. That's how the girls showed up to these parties, like half fucking naked. Here I am, like neck to fucking ankle, fully clothed, nothing showing, no fucking total mystery, and a cowboy hat. What the fuck is wrong? And I'm not
talking. That's how you should walk into a room.
Let's also understand this is not the cute like fucking wicker hats that the girls wear and they do all the thing and they look adorable. I'm talking like a real fucking cowboy hat. It's got some fucking beaver in the shit. Like that's the stuff I roll up in, right?
Oh, that wasn't Dad's hat, was it?
That's what's happening.
No,
it was my hat.
You have a beaver hat?
Yeah, I had a fucking girl. I had cowboy boots on the whole thing.
I have a wicker.
Yeah. Well, I'm Daddy's girl. I get what I want. So anyway, yeah, I didn't buy it. He bought it, but I had it. So we go into there and I bypass everybody on the party train, right? Like they're all hanging out, whatever. I go straight into the room. There's this room where they all had a pool table and that's where I was going to go. I just want to go hang out, play pool, hang out with the guys that I know. And that was it. I didn't really have girlfriends in college. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother podcast. So we go in there, we're hanging out, whatever. And he's there and I'm playing pool and I have decent skills. Again, I played a lot of pool growing up. I am not a pool shark by any stretch of the imagination, but I have some skills. Like I can go in and you think I look like I don't know what the fuck I'm doing because I walked in with a cowboy hat, but I go to a table and you're like, oh, she showed up. That's kind of how it was.
Pool for me, you would think I have a very scientific mathematical, like I understand angles and shit. I can't, I got nothing. I understand.
Yeah, and that's all it is.
Looks like I could do it. And then I'm like,
how
come it didn't work?
Yeah. I mean, I spent a lot of time in pool halls, a lot of time in pool halls. So anyway, so we're playing pool and I'm playing pool with the guys. It's fine. It's whatever. He's in the corner. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. So I head on over and I start talking to, I think it was like my buddy Sauce. So we start talking, we're chatting, whatever. And he's there. We all have this conversation. Okay. He's back. I was like, yeah. I remember you from fucking Steak Feed. Like I didn't fucking know. I mean, I had it in my mind. I'm going there and this is what it is. Now, here's the thing about Bob is like, there were a lot of girls that wanted to get with Bob, a lot of girls, and they were all half naked at the time. So I'm like,
it was not hard to trip over a half naked girl. And
it really wasn't. But here I am at this party. Here's my interest. Like, this is what I'm doing. But then I'm like, okay, it's like, let's see whatever, what this guy's makeup is. Right. So fast forward real quick. We get to the party and everything's going fine. We're having a good time. Everybody's having fun. We're all hanging out. It's just me and the boys. It's all good. Right. Like just normal. Right. I'm hooking them up where I can. I was a great wing woman. Like, oh, she's half naked. She's ready to rock. Like you could probably hit that shit. She's looking at you a certain way. Like that's what my role was. Long and short of it is the after party happens at my house again. This was very common for me in college. So everybody's coming to my house. Bob's going to my house. Everybody's hanging out. We're having a rager. It's fucking awesome. Everybody's having a great time. Bob gets fucking hammered. Not also abnormal for him. Somebody bets him. I had like a handle of vodka in the freezer. And I had like, I don't know, if you could take your thumb and forefinger and spread them out as fast as wide as you could. I had at least that amount left in a handle of vodka. So that's a lot, right? So somebody bet him, you can't drink all of this and keep it down for 10 minutes for X amount of dollars. And he goes ahead and he does it. So
no thanks.
Right. Turns into no
thanks.
Right. He gets hammered and all of a sudden, like it hits, like you see the switch goes and he's like, some girl starts talking about her hand. And she's like, I want to see your hand. She's like, no, Bob, you don't need to see my hand. He gets all pissed and he fucking kicks my coffee table. And at the time I like a bunch of people, I didn't smoke, but a bunch of people in my house were smoking and cigarettes went fucking everywhere. Drinks went everywhere. And I was like, ooh, party's fucking over. Like I'm fucking done. I was like, nope. We're done. Party's fucking over. This shit's done. Like this, when we get to this point, we don't fucking party anymore. Like this is some bullshit.
How many tables have been flipped over in that house?
I know, right? But this was when you were there, it seemed like we could do it more often. When I was there, I was like, I'm done. This shit's done. So he ends up like trying to like make nice with me. I'm like, you gotta go. Like, I don't fucking care. You gotta go. I don't play with this shit. Like, there's no rationalizing now. Like, just get the fuck out of my house.
Oh,
like,
so this is crazy. Now you're handsome Beau. It looks like a drunk a-hole.
I mean, he was still hot, but yeah, he was a drunk asshole. So
what changed that? What changed that?
So fast forward a couple of days, I go to school and all of a sudden, the other DPO guy was like, do you like, we want to like hang out, watch the fight. Do you mind if Bob comes over? Like I have to fucking give permission. You pay rent. So I was like, yeah, Bob can come over when I get a new fucking coffee table. Like that's when he can come over because he fucking trashed my furniture. And so I go to class,
which you inherited from me, from which I inherited from two other people prior.
Right. I mean, our house was all not, I didn't buy a goddamn thing in that house. It's all from other people.
It's just the principal.
It's the fucking principal, people. So he goes, and all of a sudden I go to class the next day and I come home and there's a coffee table and no shit. My roommate was like, so can Bob come over? And I was like, yeah, he can come over. It's fine. It's cool. It's whatever.
He got you a coffee table?
He did. The very brief story is he was at the time when he was living in Frostburg, he also did work kind of helping the landlords around Frostburg. So he would do odd jobs. Like if you're,
yeah.
it wasn't working, he'd go over there, he'd check it out, he'd get it fixed and whatever. So he's always had kind of this talent. No wonder he's got his own construction company, right? So he's been doing this his whole life. So he was doing that as a help to, like, if he did that, he got rent for X. So it was like a lot less. So that's what he was doing. So he went into one of his rental units who he knew the guy, and he was like, oh, I'm taking this. So he stole it, is what he did.
Oh.
And he brought it to my house, but it stayed in my house because the guy he stole it from knew he was never allowed to come and take it from me. So yes, I had a coffee table, but it was a stolen coffee table. This is what love is built off of, people. Right. This is what love, this is a foundation of love. So we fast forward, he comes over, we hang out, whatever, one thing leads to another, and we just start talking again, and everything is fine, and it is what it is. And the basic thing is we end up deciding that we're going to go on a date. Our first date was like at an Italian restaurant in there, and he was like actually dressed up
on Bowery.
Yeah. And so, like, you know the spot, the only like literally date spot that there was. So we go there.
The French place too. The French place.
We did. We ended up going there too. Yeah. We went there too. So we go to this place and we hanging out, and he was completely like just real cool. And then it was sort of like, oh my God. So he did this thing, like we were I guess technically dating. We weren't necessarily together, but we were definitely dating. And then he did this thing. I was like, I don't know what it was. Face Off. Do you remember Face Off? Face Off was big at that time. Yeah. And there was a point in the movie where the guy does this thing where he basically takes his fingers and he rubs it, like he pulls it down on his kids' faces.
And
yep. Mm-hmm. That other guy. Yep. And so they do this thing, and that's like their indication of they love each other. And so we're going on these kind of dates or whatever. And Bob does that thing to me. And I was like I haven't fucking seen the movie. This is his romance, just so everybody knows. If you want to know the level of romance my husband has, it's from movies. And this is what I get. But I take it all day, every day, because I'm basically half a man.
If Michael would have ever touched my face like that, I would have punched him in the throat.
I know, right?
Exactly. Face.
What the fuck are you doing, bro?
That's exactly right. Nobody touches my face. Ever.
So that's what it was. Funny. And then it was like kind of this move, like, all right, he's there. And then it was nonstop ever since. Like once it was sort of like official, there was just like, it was just us. I mean, I
used to get the little cute letters. Like Michael would write me a letter and send it to me. Like, cause again, this is before cell phones and text messages. And I remember there's one letter that I have from him where he traced his hand. And he was like, put your hand here. You know what I mean? Like we're holding, and then he would write.
These are none of the things that happened to me in my relationship.
And he would like write me little like love things on a rubber band, like little.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. I was like, you're adorable. And like I to him when he's missed like our 10-year anniversary. I'm like, what? You got fucking nothing? He's like, you go from porch, bitch. That is not an anniversary.
Right. I want acknowledgement, motherfucker, that you love my ass.
Flowers, a card, right on rubber bands like you used to.
You had a more traditional, lengthier kind of thing. I actually was. So this all came in where within 3 months we moved in together.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We technically moved in a couple weeks prior to our marriage just because we bought the house.
You guys are going to go old school. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like live together. Like know that this is right.
We need somewhere to live. We had nowhere to live. I was just out of college. He was living at home and we needed a house. So we moved in like 3 or 4 weeks before the
wedding. And my problem was like my lease was up. So that's why we moved in. It was like my lease was coming up and I was like, I don't want to fucking live with these fools anymore. And he's like, well, come on and live with me. And I was like, all right. So I did have my own room. I mean, in truth, I did actually have my own room. I was like, because if this shit don't work out, like, I don't need to be stuck. Like, we're going to end up being roommates for a period of time until I can find another place. And he was like, cool. It actually worked out well for us because it's like some nights we sleep in his room, some nights we sleep in my room.
And Mom, are you listening?
Mom she freaked out. I remember completely where it was like, she totally was pissed. She was totally pissed. And it was like, we had financial aid and certainly our parents helped us wherever they could, but I had a job the whole time. And so I remember mom was like, there was a point where I thought she was going to take any kind of financial help away. And I was like, just come down and see what the fuck is going on. So she came down to the apartment and she saw I have my own room. I was like, see, this shit is mine. So she could leave with the denial in her brain that I'm sleeping in my own bed and he's sleeping in his own bed. Because I love moms. We all want, I mean, I'm a mom too. In my whole life, in my whole world, that's all I want to think about with my children.
I'm also not stupid. So, and mom's not dumb either. She knew.
She's not dumb, but she also knows like we're playing it. It is what it is.
Yeah.
We actually were engaged. So we moved in with 3 years. I was engaged within 12 months. And then finally we were like, okay, this shit's moved pretty fast. Let's take it a beat and let's do this. So we actually had a 2-year engagement before we actually got married. So for the first year, everything was really like fast forward. You know, we crashed into each other kind of thing. And then it was like 2 years of an engagement and then we got married and we've been married now. What has it been?
I'm 20. I'll be 21 years this September.
Yeah, I think this is our 18th year. So that makes sense. That would be about it. Yeah. So this would be about our 18th year.
Yeah, we did the whole
18th year married. And then clearly 3 years before that. Yeah. How long were you guys were engaged for like a year, right?
We dated for 15 months, engaged, and then married after a year.
Yeah. So that's it, you know. Yeah. This kind of love exists, I guess. I mean, when you sit there and tell the story, you're like, well, it's not really.
We were young in comparison to what people are doing now. We were young. I was young.
Yeah.
I was young in comparison. Like I was like our aunts and uncles getting married. Our aunts and uncles got married as young as I got married.
Yeah. So I was engaged by 21. I actually, me too, that's the thing is like, I was, by the time it was finally legal.
Oh yeah. So you were engaged younger than me. That's right. So I was
engaged at 21. I was married by 23. What year were you? What age were you?
I would have been 22 when I was engaged. I would have been 23 when I was married.
Yeah. So we got married at the same age. Yeah. And it is young. Like when you think about things today, it's like, it feels like it like when I think about a 23-year-old getting married, I'm like, oh no, you have so much more life to live.
You know, I don't. There's nothing about the only regret that I have about being married so young is the fact that we were so into, well, first off, we only made, I think between us, maybe 50 grand a year. So like for me, it was like, right, we're going to save money. We can't do anything. So we were like, we're not going to have babies until we're like, we have to wait 5 years.
Yeah, you guys had such a regimen. I remember it was like you went Christmases without Christmas trees because of the cost of Christmas trees.
We always had a Christmas tree. It may have come 2 or 3 days before Christmas.
Right. When the 50-60% discount was on offered. We just need to get rid of them. I'll give you $20. Fine. Just fucking take it.
Take it. Yeah. No, my only regret, and this is what I'm going to make up when we retire and the kids are out of the house, is the fact that I'm going to travel. We should have done, Ocean City is on a fucking vacation when you're 23 years old. I'm sorry.
Yeah. For those that are not in Maryland, it's not far from where we live is the point.
I love Ocean City. Don't get me wrong. It's definitely,
it's not right.
It's just is what it is, but
not traveling the world.
No, we should not have spent every 5 years, the first 5 years of our marriage, waiting to go to Ocean City. We should have fucking done something. We should have gone other places. And we were just so so the one thing that I would give young people, if they're going to get married young, or even if they're going to wait to
nobody
get married,
really cares about your advice, but let's hear it. Yeah.
Go do shit. Don't wait. The money will come. It'll happen. Just don't go out and buy
next generation, Cal. They're doing it. They know that. They don't need the advice. They get it.
Buy a car every year. Figure out how we didn't, and we drive our cars.
Buy a car every year. Who's doing that?
I do, Tracy. I know so many people who buy cars and like once the car payments worn off, there go buy another one. I drive my shit into the ground. That shit like
damn right. Me too, girl.
My face.
That thing has to. I have to show up. And my car has to present me with a fucking pink slip. Like, I'm out, bitch. I got nothing left. I got not a goddamn thing left.
That's exactly right. So
yeah, I would say that we had for so for Bob and I don't have any regrets of getting engaged as early as I did. I don't have any regrets of getting married when I did. I don't have any regrets of moving in at the time frame that I did. I will say that I've always probably done things earlier in life than was probably intended. So by the time I got to that time frame, I had already done all the things that you were supposed to be doing at that time frame. So I was out of it. Like I was like, we can go to a bar. That's fine. It's cool. It's whatever. Like by the time I was 21, I was like, I've done it. Like I don't really want to go and, party at a bar anymore. I've been doing that now for 3 fucking years. Like catch up, everyone. It's not that cool. Okay.
Tell me that when COVID hit, the one thing you wanted to do was like, damn, I can go to happy hour right now and be completely content.
No, and here's why. Because I am basically a camp counselor. Like there's a little part of me on the inside that's like a camp counselor. I don't know what happens, but when trouble strikes, I'm like, all right, folks, here's what we've got. At 12 o'clock, we have painting in the garden.
You do. You're
run
terrible.
By yours truly. Yeah, I just go into that mode. I mean, it's just is what it is. Again, a whole nother podcast. It's a weird part of the personality I never knew existed until
you actually spent 10 years of your marriage having Camp Crater at your house. And
I did. We called it Camp Crater, motherfuckers. That's what we did. Where all of you other wonderful people went out and had great, wonderful experiences at other places, like the magical Ocean City Kelly talked about earlier. My ass was at home making Camp Crater happen. And that's right. We taught basket weaving. Mm-hmm. Like think of Dirty Dancing, but not awesome. Okay.
But not in, where did they have it?
I don't know.
It wasn't the
wonderful, fantastic private place. We also had t-shirts every year.
It was called something. The Catskills.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. We also had t-shirts every year for anybody who's really.
Can you watch Marvelous Miss Maisel? That's what they had.
I did. I have, and I love it. And she speaks to my soul, but that's what it was. It was Camp Crater. And people really were like, oh my God, that's amazing. And I'm like, what are you doing this year? And they're like, oh, I'm going to the Bahamas. Okay. So my little shit was not amazing. And now you just patronized me. That's not nice. None of that's nice. So yeah, but that's what my kids did. And they loved it. They knew nothing different, but they loved it. Like, what are we going to do now? I'm like, we're going to make chapstick, girls. I'm an awesome mom. So when chaos happened, especially even like in this pandemic, that's what I did. I was like, it's okay. Camp Crater is coming out. We're going to be fine, girls. We're going to be fine. All right. Well, I think that's enough. That's enough love and romance for one evening. And I think we fulfilled our goal for this.
Let's lighten it up a little bit. Let's lighten the tone. It's love.
Maybe you should do that. I'm a little cowboy hat and jeans and pants. That's how I got my
aggressive right now. It's supposed to be love and rainbows and unicorns.
Easy for you to say. You should start a podcast, bro. Okay, so that's our Valentine's Day episode. Thank you for joining and listening to our love stories. I feel like that after hours. What is her name? I don't know. There's a girl that does a after hours late night.
You realize this whole podcast has been like, so the thing with the thing and the thing.
Yeah, we do really good. We're super professional. Yeah, it's Dahlia. Fuck.
Black Dahlia? She's dead. She died.
No, there's a gal. Damn it. She does a radio show in Maryland and she's like, thank you and welcome. She's very soothing, which is late at night when you're driving and it's like, God, I like your voice, but I'm also
does a very sensual voice in the middle of the evening. If you hear this, let us know who you are.
Yeah. So insert sensual voice here, but that's it. That's our Valentine's Day special. We hope everybody enjoys it. We hope you get
next time we ask you to share your stories, fucking stories.
Just fucking participate. We want you to be, this is a podcast for the people, by the people. All right. Well, that's it. Happy Valentine's Day. To all of you, thanks for listening. Check out our YouTube video when we finally tell you what the actual name is going to be. And for the 7 people who've signed up who actually found us, wow, bravo. You should be detectives. Thanks for showing up. For everybody else, thanks for listening. Thanks for coming every week. We appreciate you. Always, always, always. We'll keep showing up as long as you keep showing up. And we'll close this out as we normally do. 1, 2, 3.
Don't be a dick. Let's try that again. Ready?
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
1, 2, 3. Don't be a jerk.